Hey, so some new information came out regarding the future of Shadowverse Worlds Beyond that genuinely changes the calculus on how much this game is going to cost. And as the economy is a big talking point, a big source of discourse in this community, I wanted to keep you all updated on the current state of things, and you can form your own opinion on it, because it is kind of hard to do an apples to apples comparison between Worlds Beyond and Classic. But yeah, I think with the information that's come out, the game is actually quite significantly cheaper than we thought it would cost us. So before I get called a paid shill or anything, let's actually take a look at the data. So this is a mega thread on Reddit formed by Lord Kalen. This is an apples to apples comparison as best as he could make it between Classic and Worlds Beyond. And it doesn't paint a pretty picture for Worlds Beyond generally. Of course, the big one is that Classic packs cost 100, while in Worlds Beyond they cost 500. That's the biggest source of pain in the new game. Of course, the daily login for Worlds Beyond cannot contain exchange tickets. They can't contribute to points for sparking, not affected by pity, and do not reset it upon receiving a legendary. And then compared to Classic, you know, the daily login in Classic, you get 6.6 packs every 15 days, and Worlds Beyond, you get 15. So that's significantly better. But remember that in Classic, you also got tickets, rupees, an arena ticket, etc. So it's a bit more flexible in terms of your rewards. It's harder to directly compare. Packs to packs, Worlds Beyond is more, but you know, with Classic, you can use that arena ticket to enter Take 2 and win rupees that way. So that's also a thing you have to consider. Of course, with the daily quest, Worlds Beyond is generally worse. The low end for a SV Classic quest was 40% of a pack. Here it's 14. You do get some vials though. And then ranked match wins is 60, and then with Worlds Beyond it's only 40% plus some vials. And then Worlds Beyond does not have a win 7 or a win 6 for a ticket. That being said, in the chest event, Worlds Beyond is easier. It's less painful than the chest events in Classic. And while the SV Classic chest can contain rupees, cards, or pack tickets, the SVWB chest can also contain vials, which really does suck, because in Shadowverse Classic, the minimum was 30% of a pack, while in Worlds Beyond, it's 20% of a pack, so worse there, but also you might just get a chest of vials, which really feels bad. That being said, you can get vials easier in Worlds Beyond because there's new sources for it, like Kalen says here, which is kind of needed to offset the fact that you can't actually liquefy the cards you want until you get more than a playset of it. So yeah, while you do get more vials, you also lose out on rupee rewards, and you still can't liquefy the cards that you want. So that sucks too. And then of course though, Worlds Beyond has park chests, which are very good, but Classic doesn't have them. So that's a huge change, that Worlds Beyond just has a completely new source of being able to earn rewards. Of course, sometimes you get useless stuff like a sock or whatever, but sometimes you get a bunch of packs and rupees and stuff. So it's honestly pretty good. So that's the one saving grace for Worlds Beyond so far. And then regarding Grand Prix, it says to be filled out here, but we actually do have a direct apples-to-apples comparison here now. So for the final stage, the champion actually gets more than the champion of a Shadowverse Classic Grand Prix did. Here, 3 packs. In Worlds Beyond, 5 packs. But the lower wins get significantly less. Look at this. 1 win in Classic gets you 3. 1 win in Worlds Beyond gets you 1. And then 2 wins gets you 2. 2 wins gets you 3. And then 3 wins and 4 wins is basically the same, just like 1 more Seer's Globe Shard in Classic, which doesn't really mean anything. But yes, wins for 1 and 2 are significantly less in Worlds Beyond than they are in Classic. And remember, that isn't even the end of the story regarding the Grand Prix, because in Shadowverse Classic, you can play around daily for free, whereas in Worlds Beyond, it's only free per stage, which is significantly less attempts, significantly less opportunities to engage with the event for free. And that means significantly less rewards, because just for clearing a run, you get rewards. And now you have way less runs, which sucks, okay? So not only is it worse for the 1 and 2 wins in the finals, and only better for the people who become champion, it's also just worse for everybody because there's less attempts. So that's another pain point here. Generally, apples to apples, all events in Worlds Beyond are worse than Shadowverse Classic. That's a big thing. But new information has just come out from the recent live stream and also from the recent detailed patch notes that definitely offsets the cost of this game. First of all, we're getting tons of events, including park events. Lobby matches are back in set 2. We also get the Battle Festival event, where you get rewards just for participating, rewards for leveling up your team score, and then you even get a free cosmetic at the end of the day, too. Another big thing, right? Then they revealed they are giving away pre-builts in the next set. And if this continues, if we get a free pre-built every set, that's kind of insane in terms of just freely given away value, especially if you one-trick a class, right? You can just always pick the Abysscraft starter or whatever. That's also a big change in the cost of the game. And remember, the game generally, in terms of card pool, is also cheaper because there's only 7 classes compared to 8, and that is even more compounded by a new event that's coming up that we need to talk about as well. But first, more of the changes to the economy here. Set 2, we're getting Raster Point ranking rewards. I erroneously said it comes in set 3, but actually it's Grandmaster that comes in set 3. But the Master Point rewards do come in set 2. And that means if you're in Master, as long as you play the game regularly, you're likely to get into the top threshold where you get free packs, free vials, globes, and other stuff. So yes, this is a big deal for people who are in Master. This is a way to earn even more rewards. Of course, this existed in Classic as well, so I'm not going to give Worlds Beyond points for this, but just know that this will ease things up a little bit in the future as well. And they changed how the daily missions work. They're all going to reset on the clock now rather than 21 hours after you finish them. And they made daily quests generally easier to complete. So that's a big deal. Save time, more ways to just like earn the rewards quickly, especially for people who are busy. So people who are busy are not missing out, and they can build up resources as well. Okay, now here's the big information. Legends Rise as a Legends Rise as a first set only had 142 cards, which is actually really small for a base set of a card game. If you take a look at the base set of Shadowverse Classic, which is also funnily named Classic, there was 320 cards, more than double the base set of Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. And that obviously increases the cost of the game if you're trying to have a complete collection, or even if you're trying to, find the card you need. There's more filler, right? Then we got even more news recently. The second set is releasing, Infinity Evolved, and in the detailed patch notes, it was revealed 77 new cards. And remember, with Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, they've done away with mini sets, and the release schedule is also a little different, but generally, this is very few cards for a set. To compare it to the last Shadowverse set before they went into Resurgence, Order Shift had 96 cards on launch, then a mini set halfway through, so 1.5 months later, it became 114 cards, right? So 57 cards over the course of 1.5 months versus 77 cards over the course of, well, the accelerated release schedule. This is only going to last 1.5 months as well. But generally, if this trend continues, 77 cards over the course of 2 months. So yeah, that's significantly less cards, I think. It's almost comparable, but if you think about it set by set with the rotation format, rotation in Shadowverse Classic was 5 sets, and rotation in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, we don't know yet, right? Maybe it's 5 sets, maybe it's more. That's a big question that we have. But if it's the same, it's significantly less cards overall. But that's a big question that we need answered as well. But generally speaking, that's very few cards for a new set, which will make the cost of the game significantly less if you're just trying to have cards to build your collection with, right? like 77 per set versus 114. Like, goodness gracious, man. It does add up. That being said, remember that the release schedule is different in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond compared to Shadowverse Classic. So the calculus is a little muddy. Of course, we're getting the new set only 1 month after the base set, and then the third set 1.5 months after that, and then the fourth set at the regular cadence they're releasing at 2 months after that, which I generally think is better both for game feel and for economy than a big set than a mini set 1.5 months after, because it kind of punishes people who spend their pack tickets before the mini set comes out, etc. and so forth. So that's also something you have to take into consideration. And some people in the community have said, and this is, I think, a fair speculation, that potentially once we get into the regular cadence of 2 months, maybe the sets change in size, right? Like maybe this mid-July set and this late August set are smaller because of the shortened schedule. We don't know yet. That's another big question. So right now, the two big unknowns. How large is rotation? If it's still 5 sets, then the game is significantly cheaper because there's way less cards in the competitive format, with the caveat that you can't vial all your unlimited cards like you could in Shadowverse Classic. If rotation is bigger, then maybe it's about equivalent. Secondly, will the future sets be the same size as the second and third sets or larger? Another big question. I don't think they're going to change the size of the sets that much set to set, but we'll see. Again, your speculation is as good as mine. That being said, I think in general, we get a much clearer picture on what the economy situation is like now than we did when the game first launched. And at the risk of being called a paid shill, it's genuinely not as bad as we initially expected, barring those unanswered questions. Also remember that we're getting 20 free packs on release of the new set too, so that's also good. Okay, but you know, I've given you all the information. You form your own opinion in the comments below, but please be civil about it, because this is a contentious topic. And you know, just discuss it intellectually and don't yell at each other, all right? That's it for this video. If you enjoyed this one, then you're sure to enjoy the video on screen right now, where I break down all of the new updates revealed in that recent Shadowverse Beyond channel livestream.